I swear, there's nothing that I could do to emasculate a man. How is that? Why do they even say that? One of my mutuals was talking about this week. I'll tag them. Not only is men's idea of like masculinity completely messed up, but like, how can I emasculate you other than just literally like snipping off your balls? Like, what? In fact, we're going to take a look at an example here in the what the hell mail, or whatever my column, to answering a column of a columnist. And before we get into it, follow my Patreon, because I actually post some things early over there so people can give me feedback to then include in my videos, because sometimes I miss an entirely different point of view I never would have thought of. I talk about France. I talk about this little baby. I talk about dating. I talk about healing. I talk about creativity and writing and all this stuff, blah, 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 blah. And I have a lot of fun over there. Even if you do the free membership, you get a little something. Anyway, back to what the hell mail, or whatever we're calling it. There's so many great suggestions people have given. I have not landed on it yet. But let's dig into this idea of emasculating men. So Dear Carolyn is one of my favorite columns to read. Let's just get into it. Dear Carolyn, I feel stuck and unable to communicate with my husband without breaking some unwritten rule about masculinity. Uh-oh. What's the unwritten rule? Is this his rule or your rule? It's probably a him problem, but let's get into it. I have been married for 5 years and have a new baby. Uh-oh. See, this is when they start pulling some crazy stuff. As soon as that baby comes, all of a sudden they're jealous. I thought I was the king baby. Those are my boobs. That's my mommy. I swear to God, sometimes I think men will literally watch a woman breastfeed and be like, that should be mine, you know? Because the way they hate their own children sometimes because they're jealous. Anyway, that's another video. New baby. Again, that's when they show it. That's when they show their butt. When we got married, we never expected my career to take off. Uh-oh. But it did. Uh-oh. And despite my frugality, my husband used our joint wealth to make many purchases I was not comfortable with that seemingly turned out to be good investments. Oh, God. See a crypto dude? You know, it's funny. It sounds like they were lucky, but so many times men will be like, they'll convince women to go along with these bonkers ideas, whether it's, you know, to go hiking on a 95-degree day with no water and a baby and your dog, and all 4 of y'all die. Remember that case in California? You will never convince me that's not the dad's fault. Or, you know, I don't know, all the crazy things they convince their family to do, including throwing away the family money for this like get rich quick thing. I swear, men are so gullible to this stuff. Bitcoin, all that crap. And it makes sense. It makes sense because they're used to just like being given the world for doing nothing but being born into the right colored body with the right parts that make them a certain type of person and in the right country. And all of a sudden they just have all these things handed to them without having to do much. So Bitcoin and something just being like overnight wealth makes sense to some of them. Not all of them. Seriously, like the idea that even like a king, what did you do? This is why I don't understand the royals. What did you do to earn all that? Nothing. It's eugenics. And you're all like inbred anyway. But I digress. Nonetheless, I feel very uncomfortable with the way he is spending our money. Yeah, you should be. You should be concerned about the fact that you have a joint, like that he's spending your money. Why do you have a joint bank account for everything? Oh, God. I just naturally did this, but no one told me to do this. I'm going to tell you now, if you're new here or new to this conversation, if you get married to a man, do not share a bank account with him. You can have a little joint bank account where you like keep a little money to like share the bills and stuff, but do not ever deposit your money into a joint account or his account. Please, 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 please. If you take nothing else from this whole video, that's the lesson. And it seems like a lot of women are not getting that message. And they're like, but it's not romantic to do that. I don't want him to think I don't trust him. Let him think that. Who cares? That kind of thinking is what gets you screwed. I promise you, he's not thinking that. Men don't think that way, okay? In general. Not like, oh, I don't want to hurt her feelings by asking for all of these things that are really important to me. I like the way we do this, y'all. Yet every time I bring up the fact that our money is made by me and my career is not reliable, my husband and family members tell, oh no. Okay, y'all, I'm like reading this live with you. I read this like really quickly a while ago, I think, and I just, started, I put a heart on it to do later. So I forget a lot of these details. Okay. Oh God, got the family involved in this? Oh my God. Okay. Enmeshment. Oh God, watch out. Why is this any of their business? This sounds like toxic boy mom right here. Because unless these are her family members, tell me I'm being emasculating and using my money against my husband. Oh my God. This is bad. This is bad. Because his family, if they are a part of this conversation at all, this dude's enmeshed. Or just, best case scenario is just a coward and has a hard time standing up to mommy or daddy, whoever is really pushing for this. Please see it as a big red flag if the man that you are dating, if you date men, can't stand up to his own mother or his own father. You will be the sacrificial lamb every time. It will purposely make you look like the bad guy instead of standing up to mommy. Instead of being like, hey mommy, would you hey mom, it's none of your business. Like, or just even sharing. Why are you telling them, bro? It sounds like not only the husband, but the whole family needs to, like, what is your idea of masculinity? Like, here's the thing. You can't emasculate a man. He only can do that to himself. And that is how they tricked us, y'all. That's how they tricked us. It's only been the last couple of years that it's really sunk in that so many of the tactics of men to, just like water, it just keeps adapting, right? Okay, now it's rain, now it's snow, like it just keeps adapting. Water will always run downhill somehow, whatever. I don't know the metaphor, I'm bored with. But first they taught us that they were stupid, right? Finally figured that out with like weaponized incompetence and stuff. And then they started to make this whole emasculation. How can you emasculate me? How can you make more money than me? It's emasculating. But let me ask, how is her doing better than you have anything to do with you? Maybe if you feel emasculated, it's because you're not working hard enough. Maybe you need to make more money. Like, if you feel emasculated, that's a you problem. Because my mutual said this the other day, and I was like, that's it. You'll never hear women be like, I feel effeminated. Why? Because men's masculinity is tied up to having control over money, among other things, over our bodies, over money, wearing the pants in the house, being able to make all the decisions. So how dare her come in and be like, I have money. I'm making more money. And I feel emasculated. That's because your masculinity is tied to being able to make and control money. And I'm sorry, but sometimes I'm shocked that men aren't offended by this idea around masculinity. Is that what you really want? That's your value? Don't you want your value to be about literally anything but money and controlling money and using it to control women? Because, like, what about, like, it doesn't make sense because most men are not, like, super rich. But they think they were born into this and they're so pissed, right? So if they don't get to be the king baby with the big castle, they at least want to be the king in their household. And if you don't let them control all the money, even though you are working harder to make it, clearly are better at making it, and while also literally creating a human being in your body and all of the stuff that goes along with that, including almost possibly dying, and they're like, you emasculate me for being better at something than me. I swear to God, if you hear any man ever say emasculating me, run, because That man's idea of what it means to be a man is tied to all that crap rather than being an adult. So I swear so many men like their idea of being a man is not about being an adult or being even a human. It is just being a robot who has a paycheck and I fork her every night. I'm a king of the castle. You really want to live that way? You would rather feel dead inside and not have feelings and not have any value whatsoever to society other than a paycheck. But so many men would rather that in order to have control and power and stick to that hierarchical thinking that Jerry Seinfeld is just so obsessed with. When you see what all he's done in just the last few months, it all makes sense. Hierarchy, hierarchy, hierarchy. And by the way, you dated a 17-year-old and picked her up at school. God, if I had the time, I would do it all, deep dive on him. But I can't. I'm behind on all these videos. But if you do one more thing, Jerry, coming for you. You cannot emasculate a man. And even if you did have a big old pair of scissors and were like, it still wouldn't be emasculating them. Because what is masculinity anyway? What is it? You know, we have associated masculine with man and feminine with woman. But if you know anybody in the LGBTQ plus community, or me, or a lot of my friends, or Anthony, you would know that masculinity and femininity are not about your feelings. They're more of an energy thing. Some of the most masculine people I've ever met are lesbians that I've worked with or even lived with. I lived with a lesbian couple in LA, and man, they had, what do you call it? The table saws. They chopping wood. I mean, it was better than living with any man. And I'm pretty tough. I'm a tomboy and all that stuff. But I was like, dang, y'all are more hands-on and utilitarian and more providery than any dude I have ever lived with. Like, my single mom and me and most of the women I know have done everything around the house and like construction. I literally worked construction at one point, right? So don't even, like the idea, like how can you emasculate a man who is just lazy, just entitled and too enmeshed with his family? You can't. That's not about masculinity and being emasculated. That is about an insecure king baby who is entitled and selfish and won't question power structures and won't question his own family and his own idea of who he is. And instead, he's like, yeah, emasculating me. Although we make all this money and you literally gave me a child, you're emasculating me. These men who are that insecure in their humanity, because it's all tied to being a masculine man who makes more money, a man like that will ruin your life. Please, I am telling you, insecure men like that will ruin your life. He's clearly jealous of his wife, resentful that she makes more money, and he's reckless with money because he's already like wasting. He doesn't even ask her before he spends money. Her money. Red flag, red flag. How do I tell everyone that I'm just being honest about our financial stability and not trying to be condescending to my husband? See, it doesn't matter. Anything you say to these people, his family, anything you say to his family, they're not going to listen to you. They're going to take his side. If your husband is not on your side, you don't have a chance with his family. And the fact that oh my God, you are so screwed and you have a baby now. As soon as I say I make the money and it is not secure, I get shut down for saying that I make the money. God, it's infuriating. Yeah, it is. You should be infuriated. And I don't want us to go into a financial hole to protect male fragility. And this is what I'm talking about, y'all. If a man is this insecure, look at all the stuff she's doing. She's losing money. She is feels like all this stuff because he doesn't feel good about himself. I don't feel good about myself. I'm telling you, insecure men are a menace to women. And even if they don't have a lot of money, they will take yours. Financial abuse, I would argue, happens just as much, especially these days, with, the little hobosexuals. sabotaging your career, taking your money, spending your money, sharing a bank account with you and all that stuff. That financial abuse to me is more about that these days, or maybe not more, but just as prevalent as any of the stuff I thought. Like what is that movie, Sleeping with the Enemy? Sleeping with the Enemy. Remember that dude was super rich? I was like, okay, that's what abuse looks like. Really rich man can go and find you and do whatever. Don't marry a rich man because they'll put like tracking device. No. These little hobos and or just, non-hobo, like they're all on that hobo spectrum, But it doesn't matter how much money they have, how little or how much. Financial abuse, which is what's happening here, is a big deal. It is a life-changing, life-altering, life-threatening thing, because if you let this man control your money and have access, she could end up literally homeless with a baby. And you think that family is gonna do anything? Please give me the right words to not put my family in a financial hole because the person who makes the money isn't allowed to talk about the practicalities of their career. Sign Lady Boss. Lady Boss! Lady Boss, be like the ladybird and fly away from this dude. You're so screwed. Like, you can't even talk to this man about money. This problem is so much bigger than I think she realizes. She's so angry. You can tell, right? Okay, here comes Carolyn's Lady Boss. Oh, for fuck's sake. Ah! Is there a worse word or concept than emasculate? Thank you, Carolyn. I'm glad we're on the same page here. We usually are. It basically says there's verbal consensus, which there isn't, that the genders must work in concert towards preserving the standing of men. That's so well put. How about we just value people? Anyway, Carolyn, I really like you. You have a voice problem more than anything. Boom. As in, you do not have an equal voice in your marital finances, so take the ego fragility out of it entirely. Now, here's the thing. She has a voice problem, but the problem is that she may soon have a much bigger problem once she starts using her voice. So I would argue in this scenario, she better be prepared for a really bad backlash. She better be prepared for a terrible divorce and possibly even things escalating into something much worse. I don't know. I kind of tend to think of worst case scenario, like hope for the best, but prepare for the worst, because when women don't, they get screwed. There's no net. It is time to insist on an equal voice in your marital finances. Y'all, I don't think he's going to be okay with that, but she better. If he refuses, then it's time to insist on separate accounts. Boom. Actually, you need to insist this. Now, you need to do this, period. Now, before that conversation. He either enters good faith discussions with you about sharing the money and the responsibility for spending it, or your pay starts going directly into your own account while you assess the marriage. Okay, I'm sorry. I disagree with you, Carolyn. This needs to happen today. He's already been using her money in a terrible way. Start doing this today without even telling him. Open that separate bank account. Move money out, or at least open this separate bank account and start putting all your money in that one, because I would do that before this discussion even happens. Because I'm telling you, if she broaches this conversation and he's like, what? How much you want to bet he's going to come home with like a boat? Or he may already have another account. I'm telling you, so many men have secrets. They lie, either outright or through omission. And usually when women do this, it's so that we don't die or, get to, and when men do this, it's to deceive us. Not always. But who is the one that is guilty of having a whole separate family and having all this stuff, and the wife's sitting here thinking that they were just using coupons and not going anywhere fun and barely getting by because they couldn't afford it. No, I promise you, I would not be surprised if this man has a separate account already and he's just putting money and he's just spending hers. That's the scorched earth, but that's better than your savings and your trust. Yeah, but Carolyn, don't you understand? It sounds like this has been going on for a long time, and she's already tried to have this conversation. And not only is he gaslighting, the family is too. So in my opinion, scorched earth is where you start And then maybe you go from there. But I'm telling you, don't tell this man that you're doing it. Just do it. As to the terminology, wording, whatever, I don't see why you can't just say my career is not reliable, so I want safer investments. Or just, I want to make these decisions together. Like, yeah, take this stupid language out of it, because the dude doesn't even know what masculinity means. Ugh. No need to keep putting the fine point on you're making all the cash. That's an interesting point. Because that means this lady boss isn't wrong. She is making most of the cash. But he probably sees it as her reminding him all the time that she makes more cash, and that's not fair, right? Sometimes, like, gosh, I hate that you even have to, like, rephrase it. But if there's one thing that women are really good at doing, because we've been socialized under patriarchy, and this is a great survival mechanism, it's annoying as hell because we have to do this, but you can use manipulation for evil or for good or for just surviving. And if you have to say the word investment, decisions together, put on your little kid gloves and be like, Mickey Mouse thinks it, blah, 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 whatever you gotta do. But I hate that you even have to do this. I don't want to do this. I was told by one of my relatives, which was shocking to me because she was such an independent woman, to pretend like I don't know how to change a car tire if I ever get a flat. And then I need to call him up, this imaginary boyfriend, because I didn't even have one. I'd never had one. I was in college, and I was like, what? And I was raised by a single mom. There was no man to call to fix a tire. Maybe the neighbor. That is one thing my mom was very smart at. She played that single mom card so brilliantly, because that's what you have to do. So she was friends with all the neighbors' wives, and those wives made sure that my mom was taken care of when she needed a man to do something. She broke her leg, you know, like, and that is a great survival mechanism. But the fact that one of my family members, who was a very independent woman, told me to call up my ghost husband or boyfriend, husband probably, because it's the South, and you don't live with a boyfriend. In the South, you're not even to sleep in the same bedroom when you hang out with family, you better be married. Like, you can't go on a little trip with your boyfriend. And so, anyway, I don't know if that's across. I know that's not all Southern families, but a lot of white Southern families, at least, because that's the community I mostly grew up in. That was pretty common. Anyway, but I was just like so confused by that, because I was like, that doesn't make sense. That's lying. I know how to change my own tire. What if it's 2 a.m? I'm not waking some dude up to make him come do it. Now, I don't disagree with the idea of calling him up and being like, come help me. Or, I'm on the side of the road, I don't feel safe. That makes sense to me. And honestly, like, and now that I'm married, like, and especially because he watches all my content, and he reads the comments of all the trauma that the women share on my page, that they have endured at the hands of men, and how terrifying it is to be a woman, who dates men especially, but just, out in the world, or a femme or whatever, like, how terrifying that is. So he checks on me all the time, especially at places that he knows that men are constantly approaching me, like when I go to the river, on hot days because they don't have air conditioning here. Stuff like that, where he's like wants to know so that he can, come and do something, even though I want to go by myself, but he's on call. You know what I mean? Because he knows that that other men aren't going to do crap. That's another thing he is definitely aware of now, is that only other women will ever protect me out in public in general. So it's not that I'm against the idea of calling up a man. If I have a flat tire or something, like at night, especially, and being like, this sucks, come help me. That man should get up and come help me. But that is not what that lesson was about. That literally, the point of that lesson was, men need to feel needed. I was like, what? And I'm like, but I don't need a man to change my tire. And like, again, if it's in the middle of the day, That there's no way I'm calling, like, I'm just gonna do it myself or call it, like, whatever. I'm gonna do what's easiest for me and safest for me. But the whole point of that story was he'll appreciate you more if you do. And I'm like, if I lie, okay. So let me just tell you, I don't think that mindset has changed much. This isn't just a Southern white woman thing, right? I know other women were taught to, like, to the fragile male ego at all costs. Fork that. You shouldn't have to do all this mental gymnastics to make up his language so he hasn't been. The dude should be stoked that he's with a woman who can make good money. And what's so funny is that, and rather than enjoying a life with more financial security, an insecure man would rather not make as much money and struggle and pit you against all his relatives than let you do better than him. Now, some of them will let you do better than him and then just do what this man is also doing, which is spend it all. But either way, do not protect their ego, because I promise you, they ain't protecting yours. So here's some other readers' thoughts. Why is your family commenting on your finances? I'd put them on an information diet. I love that. That's it. Yeah. Stop telling him stuff. And if he keeps telling him stuff, you better tell him stop telling him stuff. This should be between you and your spouse. And if he's sharing this info with them, I'd ask him to stop. If he continues, that's interesting. That's a really great way of being. Note. Take that information and do what you will with it, but don't ignore it. And then basically the comments under the Facebook post, all of them were like, separate bank accounts. Duh, separate bank accounts. So if this is not common knowledge for you and you are new at this, I know I have some pretty young subs. This is normal to have a separate bank account. And you protect your money. And even if you got to figure this out, you got to talk about money before you get married. You have to talk about it. You have to. And if you watch Love is Blind, and even if you didn't, Stacy dodged a bullet from Izzy because she looked at his finances and was like, oh my God. She just didn't take his word for it. He had a lot of debt. He had no health insurance. He had no job security. And she asked the therapist, and they're like, dude, this is what your life is going to look like with that kind of financial situation. She was like, never mind. Talk about it. If you can't talk about finances with the person that you are a marriage is a business. Love, commitment, loyalty, shared values, possibly family, blah, blah, blah. All that's important, but it's more than, in the law, it's a business. That's how the law considers it. The law doesn't give a crap about love. It's a business, period. If you have a business partner that sucks, that you can't even have a business conversation with, and who is reckless and spends money and doesn't ever save it, or doesn't wants to, take all the money you're making and spend it on worthless crap, and then triangulates his family into y'all's business, dude, you got much bigger problems than a fragile male ego. You've got a worthless piece of crap business partner, teammate, who is going to derail your life, and now you share a baby with him. So even if you get divorced, you're tied to him forever. I'm telling you, please be careful. Before you have kids with these men, you better talk about finances. A lot of things, but especially that. Stop saying, I don't want him to think I don't trust him. Fuck that! You don't trust him? That is the default. No more benefits of the doubt given, okay? Because he's got a whole system behind him that will make sure he comes out better. Don't believe these men who are like, they're gonna take all your money. Da, 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 da. No, it's all projection. They're all lying. They don't understand labor and the value of our labor. So of course they think we steal their money and we're gold diggers. They're the gold diggers. Everything they accuse us of is what they are. Anyway, thank you for being here. Comment, like, share. Tell me what you think. What would you do? How do you do this if you're married? What do y'all like? I think we need to talk more about money, especially women who are married to men. Please talk, follow, especially women who are good with money. Don't talk to male financial advisors. They don't understand patriarchy the way we do. I mean, there's a few exceptions. Talk to women, and women who are good with money and good with boundaries. Thanks for being here. Follow my Patreon. We do fun stuff over there. And Evala. Hey! Did you make it this far to the comment song? Now's time to write a little comment. You're funny, I'm sure. Please write a little comment or tell me that you made it this far. I'm so sorry. God, I need to figure out how to do this better. Sorry, y'all. Bye.